Let's start the show. It's Ryan knows. So kick back, relax, and let him guide your soul. Around the windy roads of life to take you high and low. Trials and tribulations and acquaintance you should get to know. So maybe let him in to get a better sense and open up your heart and your mind to find a better friend who's experienced a lot in life and isn't perfect. As he looks for purpose, a deeper meaning as we dreaming in between the circus and beneath the surface.
Hi, I'm Brian, and I know Bill, a.k.a. Wild Bill. Welcome. You are the first. Congratulations. You are the first guest that didn't say anything at the beginning, so you win nothing. But congratulations. You did it. Welcome to Brian Knows Bill, also Wild Bill.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you on, and you finally to get here to the man shed.
It's an honor.
I don't know about calling it an honor, but if you do, I love the fact when you came in and you appreciated the geekiness, the nerdom that comes of this shed. So, and I was pointing out some of the new stuff, that I got, like, for Christmas, I got this My Pet Monster.
Yeah.
And I got some signs from this awesome guy. I'm going to link to him on Etsy. Like the Night of the Living Dead, My Pet Monster, Child's Play 2, Home Alone, there's stuff like that. I got different signs that remind me of Shannon and Gavin, and things that I like as well. So anyway, I am glad you are finally here. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this, and before we eat, because I'm excited for you to eat these. Like, these look very simple, but I'll talk about them in a second. It's funny how we know each other, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to say that you are my first friend that I met that didn't start off from a friendship. Right. It started off from an email. So we were recording Meets of the Round Table one day, and Jamie pulls up his phone while we're recording and said, "Hey, we got an email." And this is where the name Wild Bill came from, because Jamie surnamed you Wild Bill. Right. Yeah. So you had seen my car, right? I think like on 210 or something, and you took a listen, and you actually liked it, which that to us, we were excited that someone was emailing us telling us they liked us, not that I had bad driving, which we don't even need to talk about that. But
well, and on 210 there's not a lot of bad.
Hey, that's
true.
Driving. That's true. By the way, there's this guy, I don't know his name, but he's on a motorcycle, and I've passed him many times, and I've even on 301, and he'll point to the car, and he goes, "I listen." So thank you, motorcycle guy. I know your motorcycle, but I have no idea what your name is. So I did one day. You were beside me, and I tried to throw out some stickers, but that just wasn't happening. Anyway, so you emailed the podcast and said that that you were a fan of it, and that meant everything to us, right? And so at the time, then Jamie was having this interaction with you, right, back and forth,
right? And
then I was at Taste of Southern Maryland, and I get a tap on my shoulder, and this young lady said, she said, "Are you with the podcast?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, My dad is a fan. And I said, "Really?" She said, "You guys call him Wild Bill." And I got so excited. I wanted to hug her. Like, I was so excited. Right. So one day you had sent an email, and Jamie had forwarded it to us. And that's how I got your email. And I'm like, okay, he's free to contact now. So that's how we started talking, and then started texting. So I've appreciated the friendship we've had so far, but I also appreciate the support you've been to this podcast. When I started doing it, I told you what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to have you on as a guest because of what you geek out about. So we'll get into that in a second. But before we do, we are going to eat. We're going to break bread together. Now, this right here, these are called damn sandwiches. Okay, that's what they're called. That is the name. Now, this recipe was given to us years and years ago by my brother-in-law Dave, and these things, I mean, there's ham, there's Swiss, there's a secret sauce. ham, Swiss, turkey. I don't know. It is so simple, Bill, but it is so good.
You had me at secret sauce.
Okay,
so.
all right. So it is sticky, just so you know. So there are
There's
extra
some
napkins on
yeah,
the
for
couch
sure.
too. So grab one. We have to cheers it
All right.
in meats fashion. So that's the only thing. Like if we ate it with a fork, then we'd be too bougie. So all right. So
All right,
cheers.
cheers.
And then you know how the first bite goes. The first bite has to be
yeah,
in the
that's-
microphone. So this is all you. I'm gonna let
All
you do
right,
that first
here
bite.
we go. All right.
Get right on
Sorry,
that
folks.
microphone. No, they like it. Get right in there. That is beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. That's
Right?
really good. Oh yeah.
Ah,
100%. That's great. Oh, there you go.
Gavin was really excited about Shannon making these. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I told Shannon, I said, does Bill have any allergies, things he doesn't like? I said, cabbage. Don't make cabbage. She does make this cabbage dish. She's not going to make it for the podcast, but it is, I love it, but you'd hate it because it's cabbage.
It's I don't hate cabbage. It's just not my favorite. Like if it's like an egg roll or something like that, that's fine. My wife is Irish. My mother-in-law is from Ireland.
Okay.
So for a long time on St. Patrick's Day or even New Year's Day, cabbage was like a mainstay. So I'm pretty much over it. But
You'd rather pick something else.
Yeah,
instead.
a little something
I
else.
get it. I get it.
Yeah.
So one thing that I like that goes well with this are some wavy lays. They're simple, but wavy lays for some reason for me are my favorite. So take a bite into the microphone.
All
This
right.
is the best ASMR is hearing this one. There you go. Isn't that great? Unless you're totally disgusted, but you listen
no.
to too many episodes. So.
Oh yeah.
Look at him. This is Shannon's favorite part. I was just eating.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
So the thing with these sandwiches, once I start going, I don't want to stop. So this is going to be more difficult for me than it is you. All right. So one of the things that you geek out about, the nerdum, and I remember, I think it might have been in your first email, and it stood out to me, and I'm like, this is crazy, is that you run your own film fest.
Yes, that's true.
So tell me about it, because
Okay.
I have so many, because we have never talked about this. So I have so many questions about how that goes.
Okay, well, I have to kind of go back in time a little bit, and we'll Tarantino our way forward. But
Okay.
so it started back in 2001. I started running a kind of like a little film group, a screenwriting group. When I worked at PBS, I worked at PBS for a number of years, and on the side we would meet after hours in this room. It was like the conference room at PBS, and which was really cool because they actually had Emmy awards surrounding the whole place. They're like,
That's amazing.
I know. I'm like, oh, this is so inspirational. So we would meet, and then eventually I ended up let me go back a minute. So going forward, I started getting into screenwriting, and then somebody asked me, "Would you be interested in teaching screenwriting?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I taught screenwriting for a little while at this adult education thing, and then eventually I got into teaching. So when I started teaching, we started making movies. The kids wanted to do like a graduation film for their parents.
Okay.
So we would work on it in the spring, and then we present it at the graduation. The next year, the next group of kids want to do the same thing, and pretty soon we started doing a film club for the 4th to 8th grade, I think. And at the end of the year, we did this little film festival. It was just called. I worked at Grace Lutheran School in La Plata.
Wait, so you got them interested in it young?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they were excited to tell stories, and so we would kind of meet with one group at a time. They'd have their script ready, and we'd film it, and we'd edit it, and all that, and they present it at the end of the year as a big film festival. So when I left teaching, I wanted to continue doing a film festival, and I started going around to different libraries, and I was trying to get interest to do something like I wanted to do a Charles County Film Festival, and then somebody suggested, what if we do a Southern Maryland Film Festival, and that way you can kind of widen the audience and widen the net of filmmakers. And I always believe that, you know, there are lots of people in the area that have a story to tell, and I call them like closet filmmakers, because they usually just put them on YouTube or something like that and then kind of forget about it. But to actually have people come in and see a movie, you know, with people around you, and it's your movie, and it's up on the screen. So we did that. So we finally started, we put it together as the Southern Maryland Film Festival, and there was a bunch of us. Most of the people that were in the group were teachers. By then I'd kind of moved on to being a librarian, but that kind of helped too. But in any case, we had our first one in 2015, and we did it at the Leonardtown Square. We kind of did it as a little mini Sundance, where the
You
businesses
guys did it outside?
No, we actually did it in the different businesses. So people would go into the different like shops. I don't know if you know the Al's comic book shop, and so he would have like a little room in the back where he had a big screen TV, and then there were a certain block of films we would show in that room for a certain time. So there were like restaurants, and there was a printing place, and like a little craft place in a corner, and people just walk around. So it was like kind of going from place to place, and that was kind of fun. It was like a little community event, and it kind of still is. But eventually we moved to a place, the Lexington 12. That's the big Lexington
Is that the newer one?
Yeah, it's like there's an Aldi's in front of it.
Okay.
So we moved it to that a few years ago, like 2019, and that way we actually could put all the movies on a big screen, and then we show like a certain block of films that it might be like a family block. So like all the kids who do their movies, if they want to submit movies, they watch those in the morning. Then we may have a comedy block, maybe a more mature block later down the road. So we kept trying to keep the films related in a way so that people would see stuff that they really wanted to see. And then we announced, you know, who the winners were at the end of the night. So, but it was a lot. It's a lot of fun to do. We've been doing this since 2015. We did 2019. Took a little bit of break because there was apparently some pandemic going on.
I heard about something like that. Yeah.
So we ended up going back to we finally brought it back this year, and back in August, and we're starting again in for this coming August as well.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
I will be there.
cool.
I can't wait. It is exciting. I love the fact. So I love the fact that you guys are getting, not only like to rewind, the fact that you are getting younger people involved, because I think it is so important to get them involved in something creative at a young age. Gavin's first toy was Play-Doh and a Mr. Potato Head, and those were amazing. Those were great for him, and I see what that did for him now. But to hear about other children being able to get into a different form where they can be creative, because things are so much easier now to be able to do it. The fact that you can film a high quality movie on your phone is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That there's software to do it on your phone. So they had the access that we didn't have when we were children,
Yeah,
right?
that's the best part. I love that. I love the fact that, you know, I look at all the stuff that's available now that I wish I had when I was a kid. I mean, today I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably still don't want to do it, but I'd still have a lot of movies behind me. It's just a way to foster that creativity. And I feel like I say, everybody has a story to tell, and this is just one of the mediums you can use to tell it.
So is there something that gets put out online that says we're having this, submit your film here, and then it goes through different people that you've put in place to say, okay, we're going to show this. This is the category we're going to put it in. What's that process like?
We have a website, and we have a Facebook account. We have various social media forms out there. We usually announce. In fact, we're getting ready to announce the 2025 Film Festival. They can submit their films through something called filmfreeway.com. And Film Freeway is just a website dedicated to film festivals, and just makes it a little easier for smaller film festivals to get all the movies submitted. Now, if you're a student, So the way this the Southern Maryland Film Festival works is you need to have somebody in the film, either cast or crew, has to have lived in Southern Maryland, it's Charles, St. Mary's, or Calvert, for at least 1 year.
Okay.
Or they can worked or gone to school in Southern Maryland for at least a year. That qualifies you.
Okay.
Or if your film is about Southern Maryland, or it was filmed in part in Southern Maryland. One of the most recent ones, they actually won for best film, was it was a story about this guitarist named Danny Gatton. And
I went to school with Holly, his daughter.
really, oh, that's fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
well, the movie was phenomenal. And
Really?
the person who made the film was not from Southern Maryland, but she had taken it to all these huge film festivals, and so
awesome.
she decided to kind of wind it down at where he lived in Southern Maryland. So I know he lived in Accokeek at one point, and then he moved to down here. I think maybe in Newburgh. I think it was something like that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't know where they
Yeah.
lived. Yeah.
So yeah, it's an incredible story. But there was one of the audience favorites, because we also have an audience award.
Okay.
And it was somebody who lived in Calvert, grew up in Calvert, moved away, and made a film about this woman who was dying of cancer, and just kind of followed her around for a couple of years, and it was a really powerful story. So the story takes place, all the way across the country, but since he was from here, that qualified, and
Okay.
and yeah, it was really good stuff, and we have no shortage of really good movies coming through.
I think that's so. What's the timeline? The time length for the movies?
That's a great question, because we do have some people who do full-length feature movies, and we try and keep it about an hour or so if we
Okay.
can. I mean, we do have some that are like 90 minutes, and we had one who submitted it like 2.5 hours. And, I was like,
Whoa.
and it was a local film too, and we wanted to put it on there, but we just couldn't fit it into a block, because we're trying to share with other movies. And so if you have like a 10 or 15-minute movie, that is like premium right there. If it's a little longer, that's fine, but we're just trying to, we can only take so many of the longer movies.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you talked about when you would write screenplays. When did that start? Was this young Wild Bill, when Wild Bill was truly wild, or?
I was always I always wrote stories when I was a kid. I remember I grew up around here. I grew up in Bryan's Road,
Okay.
and so I won first prize in third grade for my short story on something called Stupor Duck, I think.
Stupor Duck?
It was a little story I wrote, and I won like $3 for it. So, and then eventually later on, somebody asked me to make this little. They were doing like a Charles County Film Festival back then,
Wow. Okay.
and so I adapted that story. I think I was like fourth or fifth grade, and they had this like film strip, and I had to like draw the pictures onto the film strip, and that's how they presented it. And
That's
when you-
really cool.
Yeah, but I was not an artist. I was a writer.
Okay.
So
So it started really young.
it did, but I didn't really get into serious script writing until I was probably in my 20s. And at one point, I started doing the film, the screenwriting group. I did get an opportunity to pitch a script, or actually a series, at Fox when I was in. This is like 2002, I think.
Wow.
I went out to LA and went to Fox Studios, and I'd written this treatment for a series called By the Gods. It was like sort of like Family Guy meets Clash of the Titans.
Okay.
Like the gods of Greek mythology rules the heaven and earth, but they're running it as a family business.
That's interesting.
And so yeah, I went there. They passed on it.
Okay.
But it was still fun to get out there. And-
the fact that you got to pitch it is pretty awesome.
yeah, that was
So
exciting.
when you're writing, do you only go comedy? Do you go, I mean, or is it all depending on what's going on in life and what's inspiring it?
I find even when I'm trying to make a serious movie, by the time it comes out, it's usually a comedy.
Okay.
Because
I appreciate that though.
yeah, well, I mean, like We haven't gotten into it yet, but with our film club, a lot of stuff they like to do is horror. So we've made a few horror movies, and the hardest part about that is trying to make it look serious, because when you're making an amateur film, it ends up being funny anyway, because it's like nobody knows what they're doing, and so
but that's kind of also, that B style of a horror movie. That's kind of the beauty of it. I enjoy that. Enjoy that. One of my friends was in a horror movie, and it did well. I can't name it here. I can tell you off. And he was trying to be serious about it, and I said, "Well, what was your kill scene?" And it was the worst way a man would want to die. So anyway, yeah. So you have the film festival, and you said it's typically in August.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be different this year?
It's going to be in August. We're pretty sure.
Okay.
We're just trying to finalize the details with the theater, because we're at their mercy. So that's usually kind of like the. It started like we had a lot of teachers who were in the committee, and of course they want to do it during the summer when they don't have to teach, so they have a little break. But also because most of the big movies come out in the summer, so by August a lot of those movies are sort of like leaving the theaters, and so there's a little bit more of a breathing room to let us use. They let us use one auditorium for the entire day.
Okay.
Very generous.
But that's really cool, though.
Yeah.
And it's got to be cool for the filmmakers to be able to see their work on the big screen.
Huge screen. Yeah, I love that. And I've snuck a couple of my movies in there from our film club at the library. And the nice thing about that is I do it. It's not an award contender. I just do it as more or less. I just want to show my film, but also it's sort of filler in case we need some extras.
Okay.
I love bringing my film club in to watch it, and they come out like, that was so big.
Yeah, I mean, because it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you do that hard work, right? And it's not always to show it off, but it's to feel that accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that accomplishment couldn't get any bigger than the big screen. So that's awesome. And I want to get into this, that you've made movies, but okay. So I want to try to stay on topic first, because I just jump everywhere.
So
all
do I.
right. So we know Film Fest, right?
Yeah.
And then you said that you have a movie club as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that you have a horror movie club as well.
Yes, that's true.
So do they kind of coexist side by side, or how does that work?
Well, they're both library programs. I'm a librarian at the Charles County Public Library. I work at Waldorf West, and my film club there started back in 2014, and we've had teens come through. We've actually had teens go on to film school as a result. Actually, one of my I just
That's
got
awesome.
an email just yesterday from one of my former students who ended up coming to some of my clubs, and his name is Matthew, so shout out to him. And Matthew, he just got his first job out in Hollywood. So
Good for him.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, so I
That is
was
so
really
cool.
excited to hear about that. But anyway, so we've been doing this since 2014, and people age out, and they kind of like Menudo. They come in, they come out, and they move on. So
You were probably the only one who will ever reference Menudo on this podcast, but I like it. I like that. I mean,
yeah,
Ricky Martin, we know you're watching. Okay,
La Vida Loca.
right.
So, yeah, they've been like, our very first movie we made was called Finding Book Squatch, and to be honest with you, I wrote that script because
Squatch.
I wanted a starter film so that we could we had something to work on, so we weren't just all staring at each other.
Okay.
And it was like a fake documentary about these kids at the library who decide they're looking for this mythological creature that hangs around in libraries. So you've never seen a librarian as happy as I was the day that my Bigfoot costume arrived from Amazon.
That's so awesome.
So it's still in storage at the library too.
That's great. Just for at any point,
Yeah.
you could put it on. Okay, so similar story, and Jamie from Meets will attest to this. In high school, I would keep in the back of my Ford, was it 1987? Yeah, I think it was 1987 Ford Ranger, a gorilla costume, because at any point one of us, Jamie or myself, would put it on, just for fun. So anyway, okay.
You know, a little side note there. Also, I have a skeleton that I bought for like $15 at the Halloween store. Not the
Right.
yeah.
I know what you're
the
talking
one
about.
that they had for like just 1 year.
Okay.
And so it was like the last day of Halloween or after Halloween. So I bought her for $15. It was great. So we put it in the back of my my car, and then eventually my daughter put it in the back of her car, and she would drive around with it. We called it Terrifying Randy.
That's
so
awesome.
sometimes you pull up to Starbucks and I'm like, what the?
I want to stay on this. So I love the things that happen in a car. So I would do this one thing because I used to have a very long commute to work, and I kept a clown nose. Now this wasn't like a foam nose. This was a professional latex clown nose.
Yeah.
And I would keep spirit gum in my car. So I would put it on, like there's a certain way that you'd put it on as a clown, and I'd get it ready. And when I'm sitting in traffic, I'd look over at the person, smile, and you know they're going to look back at you again. I throw the clown nose on, look at them again, and with a frown, and then I'd pop it off real quick, and they would look. I could see them looking back, and the clown nose was gone. I got this inspiration because one day I'm traveling home from work. It is a hot day. This guy has a station wagon, and I see this dog that looks horrible. Like I thought he was going to die. Panning. It's him and this dog, and the dog's in the passenger side. He's just panning, right? And I get beside him, and I notice it was not a real dog. The guy had a dog puppet, and he's driving like this, and he has his hand, and he just has the dog puppet.
That's fantastic.
Messing with the people. I'm like, this is genius. So, because it's, again, talking about this probably 10, 15 years later. So anyway, back to Randy.
Sure.
Okay, so there's the movie club. Let's go back to that. Okay, because we totally went off, and I apologize.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's mine.
Where do we leave off?
Okay, so you were talking about Book Squatch.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Actually, since we just finished our 10 years of film club, we did a 10-year retrospective last February, and just showed a lot of the best of. And then the movie that the new I guess iteration of the film club, they wanted to do a sequel to Finding Book Squatch. So we just wrapped on that actually over the summer, and we only meet once a month. We used to meet twice a month at the very beginning, and then it kind of spilled off, or they need people on the floor, and so they kind of narrowed it down to just once a month. So we only have like 90 minutes a month to do this.
So what is it? So 90 minutes is one
month. That's one meeting.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does it look like if I were going to the movie club? Is there a place to sign up? How does that, is there initiation?
No, there's it's
no
actually
blood
no
is
experience
involved. Okay.
Not really. I mean, it's optional, but it's not required.
Well,
It's actually it's a drop-in, so they don't have to register. And
wow. Okay.
it is geared toward teens. We don't turn anybody away, but we do try to keep it at a teen level.
Okay.
Just because teens just kind of gravitate toward teens, and if they see too many grown-ups or too many little kids there, then they kind of
it's a little creepy.
shy away.
I get it.
So, but we do have like one or two adults who do come in, which is fine, as long as they can keep up with the conversation. Now, with a horror movie club, because you were also mentioning how it's a very different group. We're not making any horror movies in horror movie club. It's more like a book club where you watch a horror movie ahead of time, and then we go there and we talk about it as if we're just discussing it.
So do you guys talk about it? You say, okay, next meeting we're going to talk about this, and everyone okay.
And so they have like the next 30 days they can watch the next movie, and then
is that hard to pick one if you have different ages? When it comes to horror,
so the horror movie club is actually geared for adults.
Oh, okay, good. All right, okay.
Because again, we don't turn anybody away as long as they can keep up with the conversation.
Okay.
But we do gear it toward adults because some of the movies are going to be rated R, and we have
of course, right.
We don't want to have little kids coming in. Or next month we're watching The Exorcist.
Right.
Tell mommy and daddy. So
I learned some new words.
So we. With the horror movie club, all the movies are free to watch because we have two apps that you can download and watch the movies off there. So I have to kind of look at movies that we can watch on those.
Okay.
So Canopy, which starts with a K, is an app that's absolutely free to download.
Okay.
As long as you have a library card, you can Charles County or St. Mary's or Calvert library card, you can actually download the app and use your card to get on to watch it on your TV, on your phone,
cool.
whatever. The other one is Hoopla, Hoopla.
Okay.
HooplaDigital.com is another app. Again, through the library, you can watch those. So they have movies that you can watch for a couple days at a time before it goes off the off your account, and you get up to, I believe, like 5 or 6 items per month you can download.
That's cool.
Yeah. With Hoopla, you get a certain number of items. With Canopy, I believe you get a certain number of like virtual tickets.
Okay.
And some things cost more tickets than others.
Okay.
So the next movie we're doing, this is I'm not sure when this is going to air, but in January we do it the fourth Wednesday of each month, and it's going to be the Night of the Living Dead. So
The original, not the
okay, yeah,
black and white.
for sure.
Okay,
And the nice thing about that is it's a public domain movie, so I could even show various scenes at the.
That's
the
awesome.
meeting. Can't do that any other time, but with this I can. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's incredible. So, do you pick the movie that they watch, that everybody watches?
For now, I
Since-
do, but once we meet, I'm going to
Okay.
give them the opportunity to pick, because it's really the community's club. Just like with film club. Film club it's their club. It's whatever
Okay.
they want to do.
Okay.
So when we come up with a new movie idea for that, we actually crowdsource it, and I have this like special flow chart that I come up with that they pick a genre, then they pick a main character, they pick like what kind of what is their goal, what's their visual goal that we have to see them try to achieve, and then what kind of things get in the way, who's their antagonist or whatever,
Okay.
So they kind of go down the chart, and then by the end of it they have a basic idea of what the plot is, and then they eventually come up with a script. And so
That's genius.
it's so
That's
much
great,
fun
though.
Yeah.
But I love that you're doing this, Bill. I love it. But I want to know. I think I know the answer. What's for movies? Do you have a favorite genre? Or does it fluctuate during the time of year, or maybe with whatever you're dealing with?
Yeah. I like horror because when I was a kid, I was really terrified of horror. And then I think in 6th grade, I saw my first horror movie. I think it was Psycho 2. It was like at a Halloween party. And I was
Okay.
like, that's not so bad. And I just started watching them
Okay.
and just love the idea of things that are just out there, more scary. That's why, like, I came in here. I don't know if you saw earlier, I have a Bigfoot hat. I love Bigfoot. I don't know if it's real, but I just want it to be.
Okay.
like
No, I get it.
unicorns.
I
I just
agree.
want something like
They
that.
so that whole scary part. They say that we are more scared of the things we know
Yeah.
are not real
Right.
than the things that are actually real. So
Yeah.
I get that. I understand. So you would say horror is your favorite?
Horror is probably up there. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I like comedy, I like action, I like sci-fi, I like superhero movies, all that stuff. But
Okay.
horror is sort of like my go-to. And I think it's also like for my daughter, my daughter Magdalena, who you met, she is a big horror fan. So we'll watch horror movies together. My son Jude, he's also a horror fan too, but his tastes are a little different.
Okay.
He's been collecting a lot of like these really eclectic movies you would never find anywhere else, and he gets them on Blu-ray. I'm like, why do you get that? He's just like, oh, I thought it was cool.
If he's
So,
buying it on
yeah,
Blu-ray,
so
do they have subtitles?
sometimes, yeah, he's got a lot of
Wow,
El
okay.
Santo movies, and
Okay, wow. I mean,
we went to the AFI back in October and we saw Suspiria on the big screen. That was
Okay.
kind of fun to do. So he's introducing me to some of the harder, like to find way in the corner shelf kind of movies that I'm.
that's
being
cool.
exposed to.
It sounds like you're being a good father and giving it a try. I have to say, I fail at that sometimes with Gavin, but Gavin's is more stuff to deal with Marvel, and I get tired of Marvel. So here's the thing: for me, for movies, it all depends on what I'm going through, honestly. So I am the first one to admit it, and some people look at me strange. I am a sucker for Christmas Hallmark movies. I know what the plot is. I know how it's going to end, but it makes me feel good. So I will watch them. I'm having a hard time that 2 of the Hallmarks that are on my streaming, one of them is starting to stop. and I know we're after Christmas now, but I have a hard time, right? So I will typically, like, I let that die off, and then I'm not sure what I get into. I get into a weird time of, like, I don't know what to watch. So normally I'll just kind of transfer over to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series, because that always seems to be timeless for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, it just is. But horror, it all depends. Sometimes things like Freevee or Tubi have some amazing movies, and ones that look like they filmed them on their phones.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that,
Yeah.
though. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I've had years where I could not get into anything. Something disturbed me. Like, there's certain horror movies I cannot watch, and I've talked about it before, but there's been times where I couldn't get into horror. Like, it just didn't sit right with me for some reason. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let me just put this on the shelf, you know?
It's, going to your thing about Hallmark. My wife used to watch a lot of those too, and I kind of bared with it because I always had a mini crush on Lacey Chabert. So, but I love Christmas music. I love Christmas movies, all that, and so this past season I did a challenge for myself where I watch a different Christmas horror movie every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
you told me about that,
Yeah.
and I wanted to get you on before. Just timing did not work
Yeah.
on that. Did not work for that. I can't talk right. That is incredible. That is
was fun.
What was your? So how many did you watch?
I started around the 4th, and I stopped on the 23rd because I just had too much going on. I didn't get to watch in the last 2 days, but so I guess I probably ran about 19 movies.
Oh my gosh!
And I put them on Facebook every day as I watched them.
What were your top 3? Can you recall?
I liked Mercy Christmas. It was about a guy who is invited to Christmas dinner, but not realizing he is Christmas dinner.
Okay.
There was a movie called Better Watch Out about a 12-year-old boy who's being babysat by this girl he has a crush on, and then the house gets invaded, but it's not what you think. It has some interesting twists there.
Okay.
And there was another one, I forget what it was, but it had William Shatner in it in a small role. And it wasn't a great movie, but it actually had really good production value. I can't think of what it was off the top of my head. There was Black Christmas. I also saw the original in 1974, which, they've had 2 remakes of it. One had Lacey Chabert, and it was a fun. That was a fun movie too. Very dark, very weird, but it
That's
really
all right.
and it was by Bob Clark, who I don't know if you know, he also did A Christmas Story. So it was like him doing this really awful not awful.
Could you tell
1974
though?
horror.
Could you tell that was him? Like that it was his style, or was this a stretch for him?
Bob Clark was so all over the map because he also did Porky's.
I didn't know that.
So the same guy who did A Christmas Story also made Porky's.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, he's I think he does
I got
have
in
a
trouble with
style,
that
but
movie.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
I think
That's
a lot
awesome.
of people did.
Yeah, I remember one day before school, my mom we had these VHS tapes that we would tape off of HBO. And Porky's was one, Porky's Revenge of the Nerds. And I had it on before school, going to Catholic school. And my mom came down and I didn't have enough time to turn it off, and it was during a certain scene. And yeah. And I said, Dad left it in. She knew my dad didn't leave that in there. Anyway. So, okay, all right. Okay, that's all right.
Oh, so
that's awesome.
The whole reason I was telling you about the Hallmark thing was I was telling my wife that I had an idea for a Christmas, because if it's not a Christmas movie on Hallmark, it's usually a horror movie. I'm not a horror movie, a mystery movie.
Right.
So I had this thing called the 12 Deaths of Christmas, and I was going to kind of combine both genres into one thing and have this woman who's coming home, her father's farm is closing, and she's got the sheriff of the town, this guy that she had a crush on in high school, but then all of a sudden these murders start happening, and each one is kind of posed in a way that kind of reflects the 12 days of Christmas. And
That's so disturbing.
I
I
know.
love it. It's like 7.
Yeah.
But
Might be
Christmas-
too dark for Hallmark. Who knows?
It's okay. Fall Mark will pick it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Real quick, because it is one of our coldest days here in Charles County, and I think it's like 3 degrees out. It feels. I know it's not 3 degrees, but it feels like it. And this shed is freezing. So we're gonna hurry it up. Favorite horror movie that got you into horror? Not Psycho 2.
No. I think the scariest movie I've seen, I'd say, was The Shining. the
Okay.
1980 I think,
Okay.
Shining, and it was because I watched it at home. My parents were out that night, and all the lights were out, and there's that scene where Danny's in the tricycle and he's riding around. Those
Yeah.
two girls are there. I was probably maybe
Excuse me.
11 or 12 when I saw that.
Oh yeah, that's disturbing.
Yeah, and so I was so scared. I wouldn't even go to the bathroom till they came home because I was like, I knew those girls were going to be in the hallway somewhere.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Favorite indie movie?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Great.
It reminds me of
movie.
people I went to high school with.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for saying it. I feel like we could talk about this for a lot longer.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's talk.
That's what I love about this podcast, by the way. Every time I listen to it, I always want to jump into the conversation, but I can't because it's a podcast.
You can just start talking to your computer or your mobile.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the sandwiches, what'd you think?
Oh, they're fantastic. I didn't
Dude,
want to.
mine were gone in 5 minutes. Not even 5
I
seconds.
was talking so much, I didn't get the chance to eat them all, but I love
They're
them.
frozen now. Okay. They are so simple, but there's something that's with that sauce that brings it all together.
Yeah.
I will eat 3 of them right off the get-go, and then I'll keep coming back for it's like I can't have one, I have to have 3 at a time. And I was like, Shannon's working, and I was like,
Yeah.
do you want me to save you any? And she's like, no, because she knew they'd be gone between me and Gavin.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be a nice guest, so she wasn't worried about you, but it was the fact that me and Gavin will keep coming back to them. So
Yeah. It's that the sauce has a nice tang to it too. That really kind of brings that out. I think.
Right, I like
with
it.
the Swiss cheese.
And I think it's like poppy seeds or something that texture that brings it together. That paired with the chips, it's just a perfect little combination.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you got to try those sandwiches, those dang good sandwiches. All right, do you cook at home?
I do sometimes. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook? Like a go-to?
Around this time of year, especially, I like to make a chili.
Yeah, okay, this is perfect. Now, are you a spicy guy or no?
I like spice.
Okay.
Yeah. I do. I'll put some Tabasco in there. I do it like a beer chili. So
I've never had a beer chili.
yeah, it's just heating up the hamburger meat. Or if I want to do vegetarian, I can put.
That's
something
fine.
else.
Yeah. And see, I will get down with a vegetarian
Yeah.
chili. Those beans are what can make. Wait, are you putting tofu in there?
No, it's
Because that would be a weird texture to
yeah,
add.
no, Boca crumbles. You can see those in the frozen food section.
Okay.
It looks and feels kind of like a hamburger.
Okay.
And you don't know the difference when you're eating.
No,
it.
I think that's
Yeah.
good.
So that put in your tomato sauce and I like to put mushrooms in. I like to put the peppers in and all that. Let that simmer, and then when I put everything else in, I put the beer in last, just like maybe 8 ounces.
Okay.
That way I have another 8 to enjoy.
Okay.
Then
No, that's awesome.
no, so 4 ounces in and 8 you can drink. So then just let it settle, simmer for a while, and
Okay.
yeah, they
We will have our chili cooking, not we, Shannon,
Mm-hmm.
all night long.
yeah,
And it is the longer it cooks, the better
the
it is.
better. Yeah,
I just,
it's
you
got
know,
it's got to simmer.
we haven't
Yeah.
had, babe, you gotta get on this chili thing. Wild Bill said you gotta get on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, we fall wise, like we were eating it. My buddy Austin made a good chili. My buddy Tony made a good chili. But Shannon kind of kills it. Like I have to say with chili anyway. Okay. So I have talked about it, and to me this is important. And my friends are. It's like they're embarrassed to talk about their secret meal. It is you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's in the car with you. Money is not an option. You are going to a fast food restaurant. You've had a day. Well, first of all, what's the fast food restaurant?
Fast food restaurant for me is probably Popeyes.
Okay. What is that secret meal? No judgment. As much stuff as you want, because you have to hit every taste bud. Not saying you're going to eat it all. I'm telling you, I eat it all.
Yeah.
I almost had that moment yesterday when we had that snow squall.
Yeah.
Which they were on WTP. They were talking about that's the new word that everyone. I called my father-in-law and said, JR, what's a snow squall? He told me, and then I'm talking to Shannon on the phone afterwards, and she's like, babe, I knew that. And I'm like, you did? And she's like, I heard it on TV this
Yeah,
morning.
it's like 2012 when the Duratio came. I was like, is that like from Frito Lay?
you can buy it. It's on the third shelf. So, where was I getting? So I thought I was going to McDonald's, and I was excited because I was going to do my appetizer meal. I was going to do all of it. We ended up going out to eat because the weather was fine right after. Anyway, so it's Popeyes. What is Wild Bill ordering?
Oh boy. Honey, fingers and ears. I think I usually it might just be a two-piece fries and biscuit, that kind of thing. Although
Bill.
sometimes I'll do the ghost wings too. I like those too.
Okay. So I got the ghost. No, it wasn't. What was? It was a different sauce from there.
Okay.
I really loved their wings. I was
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah.
It was a different sauce. It was one of their hot sauces, but it wasn't the ghost sauce, and it was incredible. I was talking about it to Jamie and John. I couldn't stop talking about it, and I think I got it 3 times a week for like 2-3 weeks. Their wings are really good because you're still getting the taste of Popeyes, but it's smaller, so you feel like you're doing better. Okay,
Yeah.
I get that. You said you're doing fries with that.
Sometimes fries, yeah.
Sometimes, do you ever get their onion rings?
I didn't know they did onion rings.
What?
At
They're
Popeyes, really?
flaky? Yes, they're flaky onion rings.
I like the onion rings at Sonic. They have it
Never
almost
gotten
tastes
them
like
from
a
there.
like an ice cream. It has like a
It's that
a
sweet batter.
Yeah, sweet batter.
I like onion rings that are falling apart that you can tell they hand battered them.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, the best ones I've ever had is B&J's Carry Out in Akaki.
Right down the street from me.
Their onion rings.
Yeah. The ones at the Blue Dog Saloon aren't bad too. They're real thick.
Everything from Blue Dog
Yeah.
Saloon's great.
Yeah.
We almost went there the other day, but it just didn't happen anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm not hating you, but I was really hoping it was like three of this, 3 of that. But maybe it's just me. Maybe that's why people stare at me like they do. But before we talk anymore, we're going to be right back. A quick word from our sponsor.
Well, howdy, folks. It's Wild Bill back and screaming at you again. It's been a while. Did you miss me? Anyone? Well, that's okay, because I've felt the love from all of your letters, emails, petitions, and court orders. As a result of the overwhelming feedback from all of you and the health department, Wild Bill's Rodeo Roundup went up to that big restaurant in the sky and is gone like a sneeze in a dust storm. Well, I took some time off to contemplate and listen to some sad Willie Nelson songs, but now I'm back and better than ever. I decided to gather up all that deliciousness of the Rodeo Roundup you missed and take the show on the road. Introducing Wild Bill's Rodeo Roundup Monster Truck Edition. We took the best of the vittles and put them on 4 ginormous 72-inch tires. It's a food truck on steroids. Bigfoot? Please, we're big food. And with no fixed address, the health department can't rightly find us so easily, can they? And even if they do, good luck catching us with our nitro-powered grill. And we've updated some of the menu items to celebrate the theme. Ever try a roadkill burger? Well, just sign the waiver and then chow down. Have some wheelie wings. They come in 3 flavors, low gear, 55, and hold on. And don't forget our signature rear view chili, because one bowl of that and you'd better look out behind you. And all that comes with a side of 4-wheel fries fried in a true synthetic blend of oils. So where can you find Wild Bill's Rodeo Roundup Monster Truck Edition? Around. Don't worry about it, you don't have to find us, we'll find you. Although you can always find us at the county fairs here. Not in the fair, of course, in the parking lot. Well, not in the parking lot, but on the road. Maybe off-road. Look, don't worry, we'll be around, aight? So look out for Wild Bill's Rodeo Roundup Monster Truck Edition. We're gonna run you down to Flavor Town.
All right, that was a great word from our sponsor. I'm not sure what I want to order from there yet.
I'd say stay away from the chili.
Okay, all right. Okay, Bill, I'm glad that you came on here. I appreciate it. I do have a gift for you. No, it's not my cool new salt and pepper shaker with Frankenstein's monster. It is your own. I told you about making that noise, and I'm the one making it. It's your very own BKB. I want you to reach in here, and you. Okay, all right. We're still recording. Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Reach in there. Let's see which one you get.
Oh, I got a purple one.
A purple one. Show the camera your Brian Knows baby, your BKB. Hold on to that for dear life.
Absolutely.
They're going hot on MySpace. That's MySpace Marketplace right now. It's selling them. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you came, man. I'm glad you got to talk about it. But I feel like we could talk more about it because I know we've talked about the type of movies that we're into. And we're in the same type of stuff, like, you know, that we appreciate, like the trauma films and things like that. So, yeah, there's a couple Toxic Avengers around here, and Toxic Crusaders, stuff like that. How great is that, by the way, that like they made a cartoon off of Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, the toys and everything. It was huge.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a Toxie up there, right on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Up there. I don't
Oh,
know if you
okay.
saw
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So anyway, all right, down to little business. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. Make sure you're giving it 5 stars because Bill says high five.
High five, stars, egg boats, whatever.
I don't think they can vote in egg boats, but if they can.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and your favorite podcast platform, wherever you're listening to this on. We appreciate that. Make sure you comment and like the video. Say hi. I'd love to say hi back to you because I am the beefy one that reads everything sometimes on Tuesdays. Make sure you check out the store too. You can get some Meets at the Round Table stuff that will be disappearing shortly, just so you know. But there are some Brian Knows merch things on there because you want this beautiful face on a t-shirt or a sticker on your car. It'll be in the comments. Let me see, did I miss anything? Comment, like. No, I think I got it. Did I miss anything, Bill?
I don't think so.
Oh, I almost burped into the microphone. That wouldn't have been good.
Well, that would have been something we missed.
Yes. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Brian, and I know Wild Bill.
Brian knows, yeah, Brian knows. Good food, good ideas, that's how it goes.
Bill, I want you to look into the camera and say, I'm Wild Bill and Brian knows me.
I'm Wild Bill.
Don't worry about it. That's fine. Bye, guys.
Just